Hello and welcome to Prairie Pulse. I'm John Harris. Coming up later on the show, we'll hear a performance from the Midnight Noise Orchestra. But first, Matt O'Lean interviews author and artist Steve Rezel.
Welcome to Prairie Pulse. I'm Matt O'Lean. Our guest today is Steve Rezel. He's an author, artist, a man of many talents, lives in Clifford, North Dakota. And Steve, welcome to Prairie Pulse.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
You've lived a lot of places. Tell folks your background, where you're from originally, how you ended up in North Dakota, and how you ended up being an author and comic book artist and many other things.
Yeah, it's a strange sort of a path. I was born in Wilmington, Delaware, out on the East Coast, south of Philadelphia, and decided when I was pretty young that I wanted to draw, to do comic books. I wound up going to the Joe Kubert School of Comic Art and Graphic Arts in Dover, New Jersey in the late 80s. And then I ended up in New York City doing some animation there on a show that nobody's probably heard of called The Toysters. And when that closed up, I said, hey, I still want to keep doing this. Animation paid well. So I went to Los Angeles. And then I worked in Los Angeles for 10 years doing storyboards. Actually, I did all sorts of things in animation, but mostly storyboards and then directing. And then I produced as well. And then I wanted to become creative. I wanted to do my own thing, and you really can't have a full-time job and be, and create a lot. So I looked on the internet for cheap houses all across the nation, and the cheapest were in Clifford, North Dakota. It was like $10,000 for a house with an acre of land. So I moved up here, and I've stayed ever since.
So what you do, you can work out of Clifford, North Dakota, is what you're saying.
I could, yes.
Could, yeah.
At the moment, I really just do my own works. I haven't gone back into the industry despite being asked repeatedly. But yes, I could work out of Clifford. But they really, in animation, they want you back down in the industry, back in the Los Angeles area.
So now, since about 2005, and folks can kind of see, if we go to a wide shot here, you've been busy. A lot of books, a lot of books you've been writing. People can kind of see them here. A lot of books you've been writing since 2005. Tell us about that, how you got into writing books.
Well, I had these creative ideas for comic books and TV shows, I guess. For example, Ugly Girl here. This was originally an idea that I wanted to pitch to the Oxygen Network. I think that's Oprah's network.
Yes.
And I worked for them as a director on God, the Devil, and Bob, which was an NBC show back in the late 90s. And they wanted fresh animation ideas, so I came up with this idea for Ugly Girl, for example. And I made a pitch pack, but I never pitched it to them because I was dragged into producing and directing Invader Zim over at Nickelodeon. But when I got here, I pulled out all these old ideas I had, and I said, I'm going to start writing screenplays. So I wrote them all as screenplays first for movies, about 100 to 120 pages. And then after that was done, I said, these would make pretty good novels. So I just, I put them into prose, and that's how they ended up as books. So.
And tell me about the Ugly Girl series. Who's it geared for? What's it about? I assume it's kind of comic in nature.
Yeah, it's a comic story. It comes from the idea back in the late 90s. Of course, there were these. What would you call them? They were sitcoms, romance sitcoms, Friends, and then Coupling from the UK. And I realized it's always about a couch and 3 boys and 3 girls. And I said, well, instead of having this nice pairing, let me shake it up a bit and make it a bit, wild. So there's a little bit of an instant twist to it that people can recognize, some sort of a hook, which is the Ugly Girl. So I made it 3 girls, 2 guys, the couch, the apartment building, and then of course the Ugly Girl is the odd one out. So she's always looking for love, and it's really sort of a romance. It's a romance comedy. It's a little bit adult, I would say, but it really could be all ages depending on how it would be produced. But it's, it's really just about the tragedy of love, somebody searching for love is what it is.
And what's been the reaction to those series of books? How do you market that? Who's your target audience?
The target audience probably would be women for that, really. And to tell you the truth, women that read it like it, but it hasn't gained any wide acceptance yet, obviously. But I'm hoping to push it in Hollywood within a couple of years as a movie project. So.
Talk about comic book art, animation, that kind of thing, which you've been big into for a long time. What does it take to be good at that? I mean, is it something kind of a knack for it, or tell me why you like it and what you specialize in?
Well, I kind of look at it to be good at something like that, to be good at anything really. I kind of go by that 10,000 hour rule that Malcolm Gladwell wrote in his book from the the Anderson study years ago. And that's really that to do something well, you have to do a lot of it, and you have to like doing it, and then you have to be creative with it to master it. And so it really needs to be done all the time. It's almost like a sport. Frank Miller, the comic book artist and screenwriter as well, he wrote once that it's a physical activity, drawing.
Right.
And when you think of it in that way, he said, get down to the gym. I don't think you need to go to the gym to draw well, but he is basically saying get your body in gear because you need to be able to, have the stamina to do a physical activity, which is drawing. It's like baseball, to be a good baseball star, an athlete, let's say, you have to practice all the time. Otherwise, you get flabby or you get soft or you just aren't at your peak. And it's the same with artwork. You really have to do it all the time. You have to keep it fresh. Every day you've got to do a little bit. Once you've got the skills up, once you've mastered the skills, let's say, you really don't have to do it 8 hours a day every day, but you have to keep it, lively for 2 or 3 hours, I would say. And that's really the key to that. So you need to have a passion to do it. And once you have that passion, it drives you to do it more and more and more.
Right.
And you keep doing it.
Let's talk about some of your other books. You've got a book about drinks and mixing drinks as well. Tell us about this.
Yeah, I used to drink quite a bit in LA, and I really fell in love with drinking. I don't drink nearly as much anymore. But yeah, I thought, I was doing these books, and I thought, yeah, I'd like to try to make a nonfiction. I made a nonfiction, of course, this animation Inner Workings. This is a textbook on how the animation industry runs as a production. And I thought, yeah, I'd like to try and make a recipe book as well from drinks that I know how to mix well. And so I just did my own artwork, I did recipe. The recipes are pretty much standard, to tell you the truth. And that was it. Just classy drinks, I called them. They're the non-sweetened sort of drinks. And that was it. There's nothing that exciting about it. It's actually one of my toss-aside projects. It was just a fun project.
A book like that, do you get sales for it? How do you market it? Is it kind of over the internet, typically, is how you sell it?
Pretty much. I mean, that's your main market, would be on the internet. They're not ebooks, unfortunately. They are print books. They're for sale on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other places like that. But yeah, you try to market them around to see if anybody's interested in them, if anybody will push them or, put them on their shelves in stores. And the sales just go through the printer, actually, just tallies up the sales and then returns royalty checks to me, and that's it.
You got a spy novel also, State of One. Why don't you tell us about that and when you wrote that and what that's about?
Yeah, State of One was a reaction sort of to 9/11. It takes place on 9/11, 1775 at the Battle of the Brandywine. That's where it opens up, actually, and that's what, basically it's the inciting incident for the whole book. And it was sort of a nationalist, sort of a cry within myself to make something that would appeal to people, that would, sort of promote American nationalism through the founding of the country. And it's about a British soldier who gets framed for the massacre of an American village in Pennsylvania, and is also wanted by the British for betraying his own troops. And it turns into sort of it's a very comic book, sort of a spy. I think all spy thrillers are basic comic booky, but it has, superpowers, and it has, he's sort of a lone man against sort of super powerful enemies of that time. And he has his main weapon is it's the last of the Ferguson rifles, which was a very special rifle. If the British created it, and if they would have employed it in the war, instead of shutting it down, there was a political backplay somewhere in their ranks that shut the thing down. They probably could have won the war. It was the first gun that was, it was easy to feed. There was a screw. You took the trigger guard and you rotated it, and a bolt went down on top, and you could quickly plug in your, a cartridge of shot and powder, and and tighten it back up, and within 3-4 seconds you would have a shot. It was like a super rifle of its day. So where it took maybe half a minute, 20 seconds for Americans to reload, this gun could reload in about 5 seconds or less. I think with a trained man, it was maybe 3 seconds. But it was, for some reason, sealed away. It was never used again. They deported all the weapons or buried them. They did something with them. And that's his spy weapon, if you want to call it that. But he's an outcast. He lives like an animal, and he sees the world of that time. It's around the time, at the end of the book, is the ratification of the Constitution, and he actually gets framed for a murder around that. So it's sort of a tragic story of a man with the world against him. And he's against basically superpowers, the supernatural evil and man-made evil.
So is this how you make a living, Steve, through sales, or do you have any source of income from your LA, New York days from things that you've created that are copyrighted, or how does that work?
Well, I get a bit of royalties from my work in LA as a director. I'm part of the directors.
I know that, right?
And Wild Thornberries, among others.
Okay, good.
Yeah, many shows. And I get royalties off of that, being part of the Directors Guild.
Okay,
and that's wonderful. But no, I really live off of investments. If you work in such a business, there's good money in it. If you sock it away, you can live off of it for a good while, and that's what I'm doing right now. So this does not get me above the poverty level.
But you're doing what you want.
Yes, I am doing what I want.
Okay.
And of course, it leads into other things in the future. I plan to go back to Los Angeles, back to animation in the future, and push my ideas as films. And so.
Sure. Perverted Communion, that's another book based on the Mothman flap of 1966. What is that?
That's my reaction to basically the John Keel book, The Mothman. He was the reporter, and he wrote a book on it. He went to West Virginia, to Point Pleasant, and basically gathered the evidence. They made a very compelling book on the supernatural. And I loved that book, and they made it into a movie with Richard Gere, I think back in the late 90s, 97 something. And it was disappointing. It wasn't like the book at all. The book was, I don't know how you could really make that movie into a book without making it, changing it. But I did my version of it. I basically said, I tried to actually delve into what was the depth of that mystery that he was after, because there were these big feet running around. There were the Mothman flying about. There were UFOs. There were strange guys in black running around there. There were, boxcars hovering over fields, and black helicopters, and cattle mutilations. It was a whole potpourri of the supernatural. And one thing that always came out through it was an insistence by all these, let's say, creatures or agents to enforce a belief on people. They wanted people to believe something, and they kept enforcing, don't talk about this, or you're going to die. And there was always something about belief. It seemed to be a ruse, which was another part of John Keel's philosophy. He put in a book called, I think it was The Trojan Horse, he called it. And it was basically that the supernatural is trying to fool mankind into dropping one belief system to pick up another belief system, and the motives are questionable and why that is going on. But that's what the book's about basically. It's about belief and about man's relationship to the world and to God and to Satan, stuff like that.
Then a couple more I have: Animation, The Inner Workings, and then Breaking Hook, which is a novella. So the animation book, I assume, is just about kind of the nuts and bolts of how to do it.
Yeah. Having worked in the business for 10 years, I would say it's been a little bit more than that. I think I put all my learning into a book, because I found that in animation in LA, a lot of people either only knew what they specifically did, or they knew bits and pieces of the whole thing. Very few people knew how to fit the whole production together. And so I wanted to make a book that explained that to art students, or anybody in the business, really, so that they could look at a book, they could get the scope of what the whole production is about, where they fit in, and how they should better each stage. Because it's a cumulative effort in animation. Let's say what the writer starts,
right,
it can burden or elevate what the artists do, and then each artist builds on each other. So the guy that does the storyboards, for example, he can either hurt or elevate the background designs, or the character designs, or the animation, the animators, the in-betweeners, etc. And that then helps the sound people and everything. So really the whole product builds one person after another. And I think it was lacking when I was in the business, that sort of sense that it's one continual process. Everybody walled themselves off at that time and just did their own little thing and didn't want to have anything to do with anybody else. And I wanted to sort of enlighten people as to the process.
Is it easier now to create animation because of CGI and computers than it used to be?
Yeah, it absolutely is. The animation used to be done, of course, on cell, the plastic sheets, and they would Xerox the black lines onto them in the last couple decades, or last few decades, I should say, before computers. And then you'd have to paint on the back. And to do that alone took hundreds of people to sit there painting. If you wanted to do a half-hour show, let's say, every week, it was a big process. And now with computers, it's point and click. So a lot of people with there are not that many probably in an animation facility that color that. And all you do is you just point and click onto one color on one cell, and it bleeds to all the other ones down the line. It figures out. And you just have to do minor corrections into anything that might have misbled into other cells and other areas and so. So very simple. But the rest of it is still as complex as it was before.
What's it like, Steve, working in the film industry? I review our films every Friday on our radio side. I'm involved in the Fargo Film Festival. I used to be an adjunct at Morehead State in film studies. A lot of those kids went to LA when they graduate. They want to break in. What's it like working there, and what's your advice to people wanting to break into either animation or the film industry?
Well, people that want to break into it, you have to move there. I mean, wherever you want to go, whatever you want to get into, move there. That's what I say to people. I've known a lot of people on the internet. People have come to me over the years asking, what's your advice? What's your advice? And other people from Kentucky or Florida or anywhere in the nation. And they say, what's your advice if I want to get into animation or film? And I say, move to where it's at, Los Angeles or New York, wherever.
Right.
And they hate that idea because they want to stay in Kentucky or North Dakota, somewhere like that, somewhere familiar. And it's expensive in those places, but of course if you can move there, if you can get in, if your foot in the door, you can easily make the money that can keep you living there in a nice lifestyle, and perhaps better, that would be the main thing. And of course, always practice your skills. I think the worst thing for anybody is to say, yes, I want to be a writer, for example. And they write one article, and then that's it. They don't write anymore. They say, yes, I'm a writer. Write all the time. Write everything that you can. Write constantly letters to people and come up with story ideas and keep notebooks on it. If you want to be an artist, always draw, always look for ways to improve your art, to expand out your art, learn perspective, learn how to pose the human figure, learn details of anything, So yeah, that would be my advice for anybody.
One thing I find, Steve, people that aren't familiar with the industry, and of course I meet filmmakers at the film festival every year, is the immense amount of work that goes into it. I mean, these are long days, long hours, aren't they?
Yeah, you pretty much get married to such
Yes.
projects, especially in film, I think. Film you really get married to. In animation, luckily at the end that I was in, it was really a 9-to-5 job for most people, which was, it's luxurious. You get a couple $1,000s a week. You have pretty much a 9-to-5 job, but of course they can heap suddenly some massive amount of work on you. Yeah, and then you're behind the 8 ball, and then you've got to rush. You've got to spend weekends there, stuff like that. But with film, though, it's like, you're getting your film out at a specific date, and it's like, what would you call it? Wrangling cats, I guess is what it would be like. You've got all these different people doing everything for you, and yeah, it's a full-time. I think that's just like being married to it. I don't think you have time for anything else when you're in a film production.
You told me in our emails you were a theater manager in Los Angeles for a while, too. Tell me about that.
Well, I was actually in Delaware. I managed AMC Theater. That actually, everything sort of built in my life to get me to where I was and to where I am. When I was between high school and college, or when I was in college and art school, I ended up getting a job at a movie theater behind my house. It was an AMC theater, a twin theater. And I worked there for 7 years, and the good thing about that helped build me up was that I became a projectionist, so I learned the fundamentals of film, that there's 24 frames a second, stuff like that.
Unless you're Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
In the 48.
Of course, yeah. There are twists to that.
Yes, there are.
But I learned all the aspects and about the lenses in the cameras, and then I learned about story because I had to put together all the films and I had to watch them because you got to make sure the reels. You'd put together 5 reels. I don't know if they do that still. Put together 5 reels, and you don't want to have one reel out of joint, otherwise the film makes no sense. So you have to watch it after you put it together. And from that, I would learn story because I saw 1,000 films over these years. And some of them I liked and I watched again and again. And from that I got a sense of story and a sense of visual storytelling, which then when I got into animation, I became a storyboard artist naturally because I was a guy that could tell stories on film because I had seen so much story through film. I was critical of it. And then through working in animation, I worked on so many scripts. I was doing maybe 20 shows a year, storyboarding or directing. And the amount of scripts you go through, it becomes sort of old hat, all the tricks everybody's using, how to how the writing is done, and it made me step up and up and up. And then with a little bit more research, I was able to write my own scripts and so forth.
That's what I always told my students: watch as many movies as you can, even the bad ones, and you'll be a better filmmaker. So.
And with a critical eye as well. Robert McKee, I believe it's Robert McKee, in his book Story, goes over. It's a brilliant book on writing if people can get into it. It's large. It's a long book, but it goes into all the fundamentals of writing script and movie. And he pretty much says, sit down with movies, watch them all the time, and be critical of them. Break them down, make a notebook, and put down all the, how long it took to get to the inciting incident, and the sort of characters you had, and you go back to the, the hero's journey? I forget the author's name, but you can pull out his sort of characters that he dilutes, or it doesn't dilute. He boils down basically 8 main character types, and you can go back and use those, and you can see all the tricks that the people are playing. But of course, when you write scripts, there's one last thing that's missing. You just can't do plug and play. Otherwise, you have a very stale idea. You really have to bring yourself to it, your message, and your heart, your experiences, and then you've got usually a good film.
So we got about a minute left, Steve. What's your timeline for getting back to LA, working in animation, and then also how can people get your books?
Oh, okay. My books are available on Amazon. Just look for Steve Ressel, and you'll find all my books. There are probably 12 of them now. I have another one I'm in the middle of writing that comes out in a couple months. It's called Mud World and Other Essays. And I'm just finishing up my comic book. I have 8 more issues to do, and then probably in 2015 I'll be back down in LA. So if nothing else, pulls me aside from that goal. So.
And again, you have your foot in the door out there. People know you, so you can pick up and leave, and hopefully get right back to where you were.
Yeah, of course. I hope so.
Yeah. Steve, thanks a lot.
Thank you very
Thanks
much
for being here on Prairie Pulse.
Loved it.
Steve Ressel, an author and artist, animation artist from Clifford, North Dakota. He's been our guest on Prairie Pulse. Stay tuned for more.
The Midnight Noise Orchestra is a hard-working band from Bismarck whose music will take you through a roller coaster of musical genres. Their original songs blend rock, blues, and jazz to give any listener a pleasant sense of gratification.
You got a way about you, and the sun can't burn without you. I know what you told me, baby, won't you hold me all night long? Well, I got a feeling you're reeling, girl, you know it spins me when you turn it on. And the moon could learn a thing or two, how to get through, do what the moon do. I know what you told me, baby, won't you hold me all night long? Well, I got a feeling you're reeling, girl, you know it spins me when you turn it on. You got a way about you, and the sun can't burn without you. I know what you told me, but baby, won't you hold me all night long? Well, I got a feeling you're reeling. Girl, you know it spins me when you turn it on.
Well, that's all we have on Prairie Pulse for this week, and as always, thanks for watching.
Funded in part by the North Dakota Council on the Arts and by the members of Prairie Public.